There you go. Surprise, surprise. Nobody expects the Lily Inquisition. So I thought just do an impromptu hangout, seeing as I'm not around tomorrow. Um, because I'm going round to my little brother's to watch the cup final, UEFA Cup final. Plus, it's his birthday. And yes. So, as always, I'm doing the social bullshit. Ooh, Burial Clark's Bird of Prey. It's basically, it's one of them. It could be a Cavort class. We don't know. Uh, but this I got. This is from the last millennium. um, Up until this afternoon, this was spray painted black. Again, probably in the last millennium. From its original colour because it didn't look the same right colour. So whilst I was the Cavort is much bigger, but it's also the same shape. um, so we don't know scale wise. It could be Burrell, it could be Cavort. We don't know because we don't have anything to compare it to, and I don't remember what the original name was. Um, but anyway, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to paint it. Whilst I was modding on Millie's live stream. So I got started. I used model colour lime green because I thought I like that colour green. I've washed it and yeah, it went from there. It might be a bit big for that one. No, bugger off. Interloper. Yeah, it was originally from the old sort of stuff. Um, it was literally they just basically they were so surprised at how well that the original Bird of Prey worked as a ship. They just simply, hey, let's do the same but bigger, and that's what they did. They basically just upped the percentages on the 3D printer. That's what It weren't until much later, obviously, they've done further improvements, but yeah. So this was actually, I think this was a Micro Machines one, because I remember I was playing no, I got involved in a game called Silent Death, in which it had rules for making your own ships. And this was something that was I played at Gen Con initially. It was at Loughborough University, where it was being held at that particular year in about like '96, and I got involved in it there, and I played it for a few years. It was a really good little game system involving little space fighters combat. I think Thrust 2 was a similar game system, which came a little after it, I think, or it might have been simultaneous. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was a good little game. Had nice little factions and stuff, and I bought some ships for Micro Machines Babylon 5 ships. There was some Micro Machines. I had a Micro Machines Sulaco as well, because that's like alien stuff. And I picked this up as well, and it's just been like floating around boxes for decades. And as I said, it was like a really weird green color, and yeah, so I sprayed it black, and this is what I done this afternoon basically while I was watching Millie stream. I'm currently painting a mosquito for Blood Red Skies myself. Nice, mosquitoes are awesome. So, scale wise, it's as big as a Voss Lightning. Well, these turned out as well as I expected, really. These guys. Well, if it fucking would just do something and actually just love it. Yeah, so I went with a Corax White Underbelly. This on the top was a Humbro spray that I had in the drawer. So sprayed that. That was some random grey colour that I had, and well, actually that might have been Dawnstone. I think that was Dawnstone, and that was Corax Black. I was basically replicating like certain colours inspired by the Jolly Roger squadron from USS Nimitz. I have a lot of Micro Machines. I think the most certainly is a Galoob Micro. If it isn't painted, then I've had some close-up pictures. I think I've been able to help ID them. As well as a D3A1 Val P51 Mustang and P38 Lightning. A refreshing break from Ally. Yeah, no worries, buddy. Picks always welcome. Did go over the surface with Athonian camo shade as well. Tone it down and then dry brushed afterwards. What got me into Star Trek was the video game Star Trek Shattered Universe. Yeah, it always used to just be on TV when I was little. So obviously like the original series, of course. And then I remember the Next Generation being released. Watching that, and obviously Deep Space Nine as well. Never really got into Voyager though. I did try watching through on some DVDs. I used to work place that I used to work. We had another store, and when I'd cover that one, the guy who would normally work there had a collection of obviously Star Trek DVDs. So I'd sit literally. He was quite a store, so you know, after I'd done whatever, I'd sit and watch a couple of episodes of Voyager, just to see what it was all about. But again, whether or not I didn't get into enough of it. But yeah, it's just one of those little things. Sometimes it bites and you get hooked, other times not so much. So didn't really have to deal with that. Obviously, Deep Space Nine was my favourite up until recently. Strange New Worlds is my favourite. And I actually do have an appreciation for Discovery as well. Not so much for Michael Burnham as such. I think they overdid it with trying to make Michael Burnham such an awesome character that they really did sort of go too far at times. Like making her like I know like the Red Angel storyline was interesting and all that sort of stuff, and that brought Spock into it as well. But it's just like whenever something came up, there was in one of the later series, something came up, and it just so happened that she was the only one qualified to operate some sort of remote JCB. And I'm like, what? So you have to do this because you're the only one who's qualified to drive this space JCB. Right, okay. Of course you are. You know, there's other characters in this thing. Considering that you were a science officer initially, kind of thing, as well as like a first officer, why would you have that skill set? I don't know. Don't understand. Confuse me. But I did like the entire bridge crew. Bridge crew for Discovery was actually pretty cool. Also, the earlier episodes when you had Jason Isaacs involved, that was yeah, it was good. My favourite TOS series was the remastered version of the Doomsday Machine. Yeah, it was obviously with the original series, it was basically like Troubles with Tribbles, or well, yeah, that one, because of the, you know, Klingon stuff, and then having that come back again with Troubles and Tribulations in DS9, that was actually really, really good. How they did all that. And what's the other one? It was mostly, I think, the movies that I had more affinity with Star Trek. So, obviously, in episode 3, in Star Trek 3, the Search for Spock is where we first see a bird of prey sort of thing. Christopher Lloyd in what it became the iconic Klingon look with the knee-high boots and shoulder pads and all that sort of stuff, and the hair sort of thing. And then obviously the voyage home, which, you know, having the legendary Enterprise crew operating a Klingon bird of prey. Because like with the movies, my personal favourites, because they always said like it was like the even number ones were the better ones. So most people would go Wrath of Khan being their favourite, but I would actually, I actually would go with the Voyage Home is my favourite, followed by Undiscovered Country, then Wrath of Khan. Purely because it's similar to what happens with my opinion of Rogue One, in that both those movies, as good as they are, if I was to watch them again, I would fast forward the actual film. The first half I do not give a toss about, really. It's all down to sort of like the whole like Scarif shenanigans, so like Jedra onwards, where they meet up with Saw, and then obviously the destruction of the city, and onwards basically. And with Star Trek Wrath of Khan, it's literally from when they go to the Genesis cave, you know, or so maybe the first fight when they come up against the Miranda. But I would honestly, last times I watched Wrath of Khan, I just went to the Genesis cave and started from there. That's I have no interest in what happens before, and it's the same with, as I said, Rogue One. But I can happily just sit through the entirety of Voyage Home and Undiscovered Country, no problem at all. So yeah, so for me it's 462. then I would go. I'd go joint with 1 and 3, and then 5, because obviously 5 is dire in that particular area of Star Trek movies. Good evening, Kenneth. Yes, hello. Yeah, so basically, the reason why I'm on tonight is because as I did mention on Saturday, I probably wouldn't be on tomorrow night because of the UEFA Cup final, because I'm going to my little brother's, who was also his birthday the other day. So we're 4 days apart, but also 9 years apart. So we're both Tottenham supporters. Most of my family are Tottenham supporters. So yeah, we just I asked him, because he's actually a season ticket holder, and he was hoping to get tickets to Bilbao, but he missed out on the draw. So he said, "Well, come round. We're having a barbecue." I was like, "Okay, let's do this," because it's an important fixture where we might win something. And we deserve to win something after all these years. How are you, Kenneth? What are you up to, buddy? I have to double check what day it is. Have I lost a day? No, sir. Well, I've taken a leaf out of Crystal's book, because up until yesterday, or well, up until today, she's done like 3 evenings where she streamed. Like, it weren't planned, just basically just got up and did it. So I thought, well, if Boss can do it, I can do it. So I thought we'll just come hang out for a little while, slap some paint onto some bits, and go from there, really. Some no, not a lot to do, deciding what to do. Hey Rose, and hello Gratak. How are you? What are you up to? You doing some hobbying, both of you? It's a Tuesday night. What other night would you hobby? Building horses. Cool. Was that iOS you're doing? Do you get Bretonians or something? That's nice. Fair enough. I'm constructing some poorly written code. Oh, bless you. I'm sure you'll do a great job at reconstructing poorly written code into something cohesive and understandable, which will produce awesomeness, no doubt. this old kit, it's an experience. Oh. What's the code for? I nearly set a 9-volt battery on fire. Well, at least you didn't accidentally instigate a nuclear first strike. That was always my concern when like trying to like program a VCR. Had to somehow set off some sort of devastating chain reaction. Oh, that's what the code for setting fire to 9-volt batteries. Oh, understandable. That's fair. The code is for a hedge trimmer, actually. Right. Now, you say that. I left my house today to go pick the boy up from college, and I heard something which sounded much similar to a strimmer, like hedge trimmer. And so I didn't really pay much attention to it as such. So I've come out the door. I've looked at around the door and the step around there because obviously Posty might have been and hidden a letter or a parcel they couldn't figure out how to post with the letterbox. And you know, this hedge trimmer, this strimmer sound was continuous. I looked up to the end of the driveway to where my car was parked across the driveway, and above it I saw, I don't know if this will come through, this. So it was a fucking swarm of, I don't know if it was bees, wasps, or whatever, just literally on the other side of my car in the road. And I'm like, what the actual fuck is that? You know, it was like a fucking cloud of fucking insects and, you know, just buzzing their sweet. I think it could be bees. Zooming in. So, this is as good a zoom as I'm going to get, unfortunately. But it was like, what the fuck? And I just, yeah, swarm of nope indeed. So I literally just jumped for my car door because I've already, when I'm walking out the house, as I get to the door, before I open the door, I press my key to open the car door. As I said, I've opened the front door, stood on the step, looked down to see if there's any hidden goodies, and then looked up to the sound of the strimmer, and it was fucking a plague. It was one of the signs of the apocalypse. A plague of nope. The plague lord has arrived. Indeed. Yeah, so that was like not what I was expecting leaving the house this afternoon. So whether or not someone's torched a nest, like a wasp nest or a bee's nest, hive or whatever, it's like you don't expect to see that many fucking winged terrors outside your front door. So I took a video of the bee wasp things, and they just moseyed on down the street. I'm like, well, I'm going that way, so that's fine. So yeah, it was quite unsettling to say the least. You don't expect to see that kind of shit on a Tuesday afternoon. Meat small. I like to think that they were actually playing Knockdown Ginger. Or they were going door to door going, have you heard of our Lord and Saviour Beelzebub? Trying to find their missing honey. It could be. Could be. Funnily enough, I was thinking about honey earlier on today because where I've recently given up sugar in my coffee, I do miss the sweet stuff, and was thinking of maybe getting some honey as a substitute because being a natural sugar is better than a processed, refined one. Even though I normally had like Demerara, I preferred Demerara to white sugar, especially in coffee. It wasn't too big. The Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints. That tickled me. It's the whole thing that worked. If you just said Jesus Christ, that would have been good, but that was better. That was the best. Be sus. Suspicious bees coming around here, causing a fracas. Little. Unfortunately, with this is, as I said earlier on, this is like one of those like micro machine types versions of a bird of prey. So the detail, although it is present, is not that deep. So obviously, where I've sprayed it previously, did I spray it again? No, so it was basically sprayed with some black undercoat years ago, like literally last millennium ago, because I've had this since like mid-90s. So it was just a black piece of plastic in the shape of a Klingon bird of prey. And yeah, so whilst I was watching on Millie's live stream earlier on, I thought, well, you know, I'd painted my lightnings and I couldn't do much more with them, and my tanks and little tonks were all sort of hunky-dory and happy, and I was just looking around going, what can I do? And I just saw that sitting, just because I found it again when I was going through some boxes the other day, and I just saw it sitting there and I gone, it's your time. And yeah, so I just started attacking it with paint and brush, and at the end of the stream I had this, I'd say about 95% to this level, or maybe 90% to this level. And then obviously since being on stream I've done a little bit of washing and dry brushing as you do. Anyone want a sour worm? It's only a kilo fucking tub. I only just realised it's a kilo tub because this was a birthday present from one of my birthday presents that my boss gave me. Working through the pile of opportunities has reached the 90s now. Yeah. Not that true. We've also got some Kratos that can be built. I've got 4 sprues of Solar Auxilia, but I don't know if I want to start on them. I mean, like, building tanks is easier in comparison. Right. So that's that. Little things there. I'm just going to check if there's any other little hidden gems. No, they're not primed. I don't want to be spraying stuff this time. No. Sprayed either, so that's going to stay there. Right. No, I don't want to do that either. There's only so much you can do with this bloody thing. I keep staring at it. Little exhaust port. One sec. Hang on. Pray. Could be a bit of an arse. Having a thought, having a think. Probably not. So it's not really going to be poop. Where's my little tiny nibbly brush? So we can get some headlights done, because I forgot. So you can take that off. Good thing about doing magnets is that you can little light bits and stuff. Do some buzzing with the hairdryer. I apologise. Tremendous. That's what I like to see. Watching you place magnets is reminding me when I managed to break a stack of neodymiums trying to make some AdMech stick together properly. Yeah, I've been surprised how, I'd say brittle, but there was a lot of magnetic force going on at the time, where they literally, a stack attracted another stack, and the force of the impact has smashed like 2 or 3 of the magnets. Obviously, the main one, the first 2 that came into contact, got literally obliterated, and then like I think 2 or 3 on either side suffered chipping where they lost parts. You're like, oh, really? That happened. So yeah, I do try to avoid having large amounts of magnets lurking around, but I do also because that kind of thing happens. But it's all under control. It's fine. It's fine. There's nothing going on here. Oh. Oh. Hey. But yeah, this. So these two square magnets at the bottom are my master magnets. So normally, when I'm doing magnets on here to make sure that the polarity is all the same way, I will have the top ones coloured in with a Sharpie, but obviously over time that does wear off. But yeah, so every one that goes off, if it sticks to that, you know it's the right polarity, and you just colour the top. I don't believe anyone that says magnets are reliable, because at every opportunity they literally fly to each other and into an explosive embrace. They're very passionate magnets. They're very passionate things. They love to hug. They may be a little bit forceful with the hugs, over exuberance in their ability to attract each other. The thing. But yeah, it's just one of those things we have to learn from. That if we're not careful, we're going to lose some of our little magnety friends to accidents. So, headlights. The other one's not a headlight, it's a target light, so I'm going to go with some green. It's like Russian roulette, really. That snap. I was doing last week, I think it was, or was it the week before? Actually, can't remember. Where I was taking magnets out of some of my older Warlord models, because I think the magnets I got at the time weren't that much cop. You know, you order in, you know, N42s normally are quite readily able to get, but they didn't feel like N42s the way they held on to their weapon arms. So it was always like the connection weren't quite there, but it was also a bit wobbly. But I changed them around the other day, and the weapon arms are much more stable, which is what you want, really. You don't want things falling off whilst in the middle of a battle. If they fall off, it's battle damage and they can't be attached. No blaster for you. That's a bit harsh. Obviously, and it deprives somebody from blowing it off. It's half the fun of shooting Titans, is that you can take out their weapons. It's normally the last thing you want to do, because you want massive explosions. It's only when you get second hits into body from that sort of thing. That's very discriminatory against people with bad gluing skills. I can have bad gluing skills, especially when I'm not aware of what I've been doing with the super glue. I literally super glued most of my hand the other week, where I was doing one of my bases and I was poured it on and I hadn't realised it sort of spilt onto my hand. I didn't feel it, sort of thing. And then like next minute it was like, why is my hand sort of like going meh, claw-like? And I thought, ah, fuck. And then ended up having to sort of pull a lot of it. It's not as fun as like when you use wax. And I'm not talking about wax play, but you know, we've all done it in our youths where you got a candle wax just to get that little extra skin and then you peel it off. It's strangely interesting. And I suppose that's why they do it as well in other little adulty things, but on certain parts. But it's not as fun when you're ripping off super glue off your fingers. There was a little bit of pain here and there, as you'd expect from super glue, seeing as it has this tendency to bond things together. But yeah, that was a clumsy mistake on my part. Just old Orc rules. If they fall off the truck, they die. Bad gluing skills. I keep gluing myself to the computer. Are you really a hobbyist if you haven't glued yourself to something at least once in the past year? It's one of those little interesting things. Oh God, I've glued myself again. Why do I do this? Why? At least you get some work done. You can't glued yourself to the mouse and your chair. So I can't go anywhere. I'm putting in for overtime. He's been there for 3 weeks. You'll get home one day, Kenneth. Just send food parcels. I'll stay here. I'll get someone to come in and wash me. Oh God, damn it. What the hell was that? I was I've really got to sort out this room. I tried sorting it out recently and I did quite well, and then I didn't do quite well because I started doing stupid stuff by putting more paints and that out, because I spread. So when I'm doing my hobby like this, all my paints sort of like migrate around the place, and I've got bits of model kits here which again I should actually do something with. I've got model kits that I built a while back and I haven't attempted to. Ooh, magnets. 5 ones with random bits in there. to do. Found myself at Porphyrion. Wow. Okay. Kids are cheerleaders now. That's what I said to myself looking at Sevatar. He's been there since release, bless him, watching, judging. Do the night kits come with mini cockpits and pilots? They do not. No, you can't get into there. Unfortunately, well, you could cut that out and then do something yourself on the inside, but do you really want to? It's a lot of work. We don't get them in the big kits. I'm pretty sure you don't have a cockpit in the big Porphyrion. It's been a long while. I bought that at release and got it built the week after. Well, it was actually pre-release because they released it early, or several kits early at the one of the Horus Heresy weekenders. We don't know what they're plastic Porphyrions. That is plastic. What do you mean the big ones? Yeah, the big plastic ones you do, yeah. But I'm not sure about the big Porphyrion and the resin. Like I said, it's been a while. So this is basically, I'm going to show you how I glue myself. Need to right, I have to take you off of there because I need to dig, well, drill. And then once you've drilled, I have some glue. And that one's out. That one, not so much. Put that in there, in the water. Plonk that there. Some placement of random rocks and bits. Around the parts. So with this mix that I use, because it has bicarbonate of soda in there, that interacts with the super glue and dries instantly. So it's like a little cement. So it is really quite fast acting. But the good thing about it is that you can add more super glue. Which will then add layers. Because obviously ground's never really 100% level, is it? So you get a nice uneven surface. Which adds to the aesthetic of the base. Using baking powder to speed up super glue. Great in theory, but now I have white powder in every corner of my desk and PC. That's why you go try and do a controlled environment. That's why I'm normally doing it over the lid to contain, or the thing, or where it's near to the edge. Because I buy cheap brushes, you get this like feathery type brush, which I don't know the official name for, and then you've got a little sweeper, which is also strangely satisfying. It's like Sylvanian families. Just sweep up the mess and just hit it towards the edge. But obviously having white powder on your desk is never a good thing in certain situations, because people could take it the wrong way. No, it's baking powder. Oh yeah, it's marching powder. What was all that anyway? What? All the bits of sand and baking powder. well, bicarbonate of soda actually. So baking powder is slightly different. But so there's the rocky base for the Porphyrion. So sweep that off there. Put that down. Waste not, want not. Right, so that's into there. Sweet. Put your broom away. Put the sand away. And I'm now going back on what I said earlier on. I'm going to spray this bastard. We'll do it outside. I'm not going to do it here. I apologise for the rattling noise, but needs must. I struggle with basing minis. Either my glue doesn't hold it in place, even when I have another coat of it, or I don't know what to use. Well, I only use what you see here. So basically, super glue, attach the thing, and or what I do also do, so with bigger models like Titans, for example, I build a Titan, obviously, and then I put their feet down and I mark with bits of rubble where the feet will actually go, and then using super glue and spreading it near to where those markers are, and then filling them in, so you leave the footprint areas for where the model will stand, and a little bit around it as well. So when you have painted your Titan and you've based those areas on the actual base with the super glue and the sand and the grit and all the other bits and pieces, bicarbonate soda, and you've spray it over and do what. When you come to stick them together, you fill up the footprint area with super glue, put the Titan on there, give it a little wiggle so some of the super glue gets onto the sides of the actual feet, and then you just use I say neat, you just use bicarbonate soda. Literally just scoop it, pour it over that, and it forms, it dries rock solid instantly, sort of thing. And then once that's done, you just go over it with a bit of like Agrax or that, and that sort of tones it into the rest of the actual base. So I'm sure on my YouTube there is actually like there is a basing video. It's a 20-minute basing video showing you how I construct the base, much like what I've just done tonight. But yeah, right. I'll be about 20 seconds, so bear with. One has returned, and one is armed with a headrunner. Need to shoot off. Have a good evening, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah, so I should be back on for Saturday. Thank you for coming and hang out, buddy. I'll speak to you then. Well, I'll probably speak to you in the meantime on socials, but yeah. Voila. Primed up a furry, I see. Yes. Get that out of the way before I spill that on myself. And yes. I have a plan. Do I have a plan? I have a plan. One has a plan. This isn't going to be pretty. I could have sprayed it, but I'm not going to. I'm brushing. I'm so upset. The coding error I spent the last hour fixing was because my battery was dead. Oh no! Oh, yeah, I can imagine that's pretty fucking gutting. You got you like cable for it to actually get yourself back up and running, so you can actually you'll probably just like get it up and going in no time now. But no, that's infuriating. In fact, I know I'd fucking kick off. Oh, I'm sure that you'll be able to. Bless you. It was never you. It was an it problem. Which is technically true. The IT failed you because it wasn't powered. But you live to fight another day, and you will tear it a new one now, no doubt. You've got this. We all believe in you. Thanks extremely. I have enjoyed lurking. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you lurking around. I hope you've got some of your chaos horses sorted. And then I will hopefully see you again soon. So you take care of yourself, you little darling, you. I'll speak to you later. My Mozzie is nice. Is going nicely. Cool. As was expected. As was prophesied. We just need Rose to come in and annihilate the coding error. At full power. Fuck me. Typical. Missed a bit. Right, so that's taking care of that, he says. And typical is that I saw the paint I was looking for earlier on today. Ah, there it is. Result. Booba shaker. And this is just basically adding on Mechanica Standard Grey. So I'm just even just wetting the brush a little bit so it's a bit more watery, well, wet. It's more wet. That's what I'm trying to say. So it just goes around everywhere you want it to go. That. Give me a lid, a lovely little lid. Just scooting round with watered down Mornfang. This gets everywhere. That's what we want. We want it to get everywhere. Make sure you get wherever I can get it into. He says. Ooh. Wash. Blow dry. further. Hello, Angie Gizmo. How are we today? Good, just got home from watching the re-release 28 Days Later at the cinema. Nice! Wasn't any zombies on your way back, was there? Have you been bitten, have you? No bites this time. Oh, that's good. Good to hear. You survived. This time. Well, this is going to be interesting. I am doing this purely off the cuff. Do that down. No, you little shit. Oh, forgot these back bits. Always forget about the back bits. never appropriate to forget back. All sides need to be represented. Mhm. You're getting a decals on your Mozzie. Would be doing there if I could just pick the little fuckers out now. Yeah, I was to say, when I soak my decals, I obviously just leave them on the paper, and then with my a craft knife of some description, pick them up with the craft knife with the still on the paper, and then brush them on from the paper. decals going on. I've already read that. Just a bit of Tyrant Skull with dry brushing over the Mechanicum standard. panels done with the good old Corex black, or Corvus black. So that's getting. Oh, just picking up these last few bits where I was meant to fill in the armour. So there's a bit just here. And also just adding a little bit of tidy up. Onto a little bit that I may have been a little bit over exuberant, or whatever, exuberant. Don't think about it, it happens. It gets on there quite quickly. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the fastest I've painted an Imperial Knight of the smaller variety. Seeing as this was grey plastic an hour ago. Not doing too bad. That's nice. Hide any little bits that I might have just mistakenly painted. So it's quite tricky as well because my right eye, for some reason, is quite heavy. Well, the eyelid is anyway. funny. It's just a little bit more. Just realised I didn't. Right. Just left a drink before the next phase. Also need to find the right stuff. Yes. So this is the infamous Agrax and water mix that I often use. Like often use, I always use it. All decals are done on my Mosquito Mini, coated in microcell now. I'm off to make a cup of tea and celebrate the cockpit window and varnish tomorrow. Well, that sounds like a glorious plan for tomorrow. And good progress for tonight. I think it's Von Hur. uh, it's not what I expected to start out with doing. I changed for strategic reasons. So basically, I was with the paint scheme. Oh, right. Well, okay. Well, that's interesting. Oh joy. So detected audio. So, ah, apparently back again. It's, I don't know if there's some sort of um, still here. That's interesting. So I'm just trying to figure out. I'm got the live stream on behind. I'm got the live stream on behind. Right. So there's not much of a delay going on. Right. So there's not much of a delay going on. So not much of a delay going on. Right. Is well, it's on. Oh my god, what's going on? So it's obviously got content unavailable. So I think on the main screen, um, it's uh, if you can't hear me, so YouTube has suspended the stream because of the music. So I'm still here. I think it's sort of stopped now, but it's quite. That's the first time that's happened. Like I always use like same sort of. Again, it's on YouTube, but normally it's like free to listen to sort of background music. So let's try something different. So free music, background music. There you go. I've got advert going on at the moment, so unfortunately I have to go through this. Now I can skip. Right. There's some synth shit. Hey, Naspo. Hello. How are you? Yeah, that's just weird. Like, that's the first time I've ever had that happen in midstream. Like, normally it's done after the fact. But yeah, they thought, no, screw you, Kippy. We're taking you down, you music violator. You. Almost last day of school. Hey! That's always worth celebrating. Well, it's good to hear you and to see you. How's your hobby been, or have you been a bit overrun with the school year? Pretty overrun, not gonna lie. Just caught a cold too, but I'm almost over it. Well, I hope you recover quickly, my dear. Don't need that bullshit hanging around you. Are you going to be up to any hobby during your holiday, or are you actually going to have a break somewhere to rest and recuperate? So the stream's been pretty relaxed, chilled today. I don't know if Rose and Plastic's still about, or even Gizmo. Keep on seeing that corner of my eye. It's annoying. I don't have a holiday. I go right into a working summer session for about a week. Oh. Things you have to do. Yeah, so we started off the stream with a Klingon bird of prey that I was just pissing about with. Earlier on today, actually, I was just finishing that off, and then there was a lot of faffing, and then I decided to turn some grey plastic Porphyrion into a painted Porphyrion. So that's what has been going on here. It's okay. I'm going to have a clear through all my stuff so I can choose what to focus on. Yeah, thank you. Let's say this, I got this in the last millennium. I was probably around about 96, 97 when I got that. I was playing a game called Silent Death, which is a tabletop fighter, space fighter combat game, and they had rules for making up your own ships. So I got some, I think it was a Micro Machines bird of prey and a load of other stuff like Babylon 5 stuff as well, and was trying to make up ships, and it's been in a box ever since, really. There. So yeah, it's for an impromptu stream because I'm not around tomorrow night because I'm going to my little brother's to watch the Europa Cup final because our team's playing in it, so it felt rude not to see it with family. Just no, I'm glad you call me too. It's always nice to have a mouse in the house. It's had quite a steady, easygoing evening. For something that wasn't planned, it came on about 9:30. I'm just still getting over what the hell was going on a minute ago with the stream suspension. But it's one of those things. I have a diorama I'm working on for the Race for Terror channel contest. Just need to do figures and I can start the main vehicles. So yeah, that's odd. Like YouTube, it's your music. Yeah, it's not as if it's like a chart track or anything like that, but it's like there's channels, like, and the one that I normally choose something from, for the last year at least, it's been using their stuff, and I've never had that come up before. So that was a surprise, to say the least, because it's like going, what the hell's going on? Because like Rose and Plastic was going like, wait, what's happening? And I'm like, what do you mean what's happening? What's happening is this Porphyrion. This is happening. Because I had no freaking clue. I think it's mostly like AI picking and choosing and being done. and by AI I mean as, aka artificially stupid. Yeah. It seems odd. But it's always seemed odd, like you're on YouTube and you're playing music from YouTube, but it causes a whole lot of drama. I'd say I've had like only one instance of a video being banned. I've had a couple of instances where, well, it actually it goes back to, I don't know if you remember, but when I used to have like 10 seconds of random tune at the start of each stream, and there was one of them which I played a bit longer than 10 seconds and that stream got that video got pulled. So that's why I went to change to the royalty free type music. And no longer did the little intro stuff that I used to. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but there's so draconian about it. Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do, you know? How's the boys doing? They're all right. All good. Excellent. Number 3 has bought himself yet another work in progress vehicle, and I'm starting to get annoyed. Starting to get annoyed. Yeah. Well, that's also understandable. I better just do those cables because they're only going to bloody annoy me. And I'm the one who's done them in the first place. Both sides. Okay. I think it's Von Her. Did I ask that earlier? Very good. Well, it can't be sort of like Von Her. It's yellow and red. Nice yellow and red. It's a 3-blade knight anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Oh. Well, that'd be I'm going to be yellow and red. Where's purple? No, that's crimson. There we are. get my airbrush cleaned and ready for work. Kiss. Use that. It's wrong. Wrong. Wow. It says, then picks up his brush once more. I think that's me done. Oh, you're right. Piece of work. Let's try it.
At Vodafone, get iPhone 16 Pro Max and save up to £708
Well,
when you
that's
trade in an
handy.
eligible iPhone. Available from
That's
£27.50
a great
per month
deal
until
there,
April
really.
2026. Go online or in-store
Thanks
today.
for that. Just
Ends
coming
12th of June.
into existence when didn't want it. Thank you. What was I doing? Right. Okay. It's alright. Yeah. Other things work. Right. So the last few sessions we've done tanks. All in the letters. You can't even see it. Little tanks go with some bigger tanks. Big tank. So that's some air colour. So yes, thank you for coming and hanging out with me this evening. It's been most enjoyable for an impromptu one, and I shall see you hopefully on the weekend. So Saturday from 8 PM GMT, which is 3 PM Eastern Standard Time in the good old US of A. But yeah. About 3 hours. It's alright. Done stuff. But yeah, lovely to hang out with you all. Great to see you again, Mouse and Plastic hanging out. Rose earlier on was here with Gizmo. Gretag joined in. And Kenneth. Right, I'm going to go to bed. I've got work tomorrow or today. So thank you very much once again, and I'll speak to you all again soon. So until then, arrivederci dudes. Take care.